Love is all you need. That is the heart of the matter. And on the end of that, it goes down and it goes, and these three things remain: faith, hope, and... But the greatest is love. That's the heart of the matter. Now, people are so confused about love. They all think love is a feeling. You feel, I just feel like I'm in love. Love is not a feeling. If you rely on your feelings, it's going to get you into trouble. It might start with a little bit of desire, a bit of emotion, but love's a choice. You didn't just fall in love, you chose to walk into that. And you don't just fall out of love, you choose to walk out of that as well. It's a decision. It's a choice. Anne and I have been married for like 30 odd years. And I'm sure there were times when she didn't really love me that much, didn't feel like it. Okay, it was only once. But she made a decision. She made a choice. We said we will love each other till death do us part before God. It's a decision. It's a choice. You can't hang it on feelings. And it's the reason love is so powerful is because what is behind that word love? Now, if you don't have a relationship with God or you're unsure about what this thing is, it's called a Bible. People are very confused about this thing. I try and help you people understand it. When you're looking at it, try to think of it more as a library of ancient documents that spans a long period of time that has come together. You've got creation at the start. That's for everybody. We all know where it all started. And then from Genesis through to 3/4 through, it's about the founding of a military nation called Israel. It's called the Old Covenant. And it's to set the stage for what they were waiting for, which was the Messiah, which was the promised one that would restore relationship. And then back the book of Matthew, then it goes on to Revelation. We get to understand this is called the New Covenant. It's for all people, not just Israel. It's for all people and all nations. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, in that section, our covenant, in the second half of it. There's a guy called John, and he's writing about stuff that's happened and stuff that he's witnessed. Now, he grew up under Israel's old covenant. He's seen the tone of this thing, that he knows how this can be distorted. He knows how this can damage and hurt people, but he's operating also in the new covenant of Jesus after Jesus' death, burial, resurrection, but they're still experiencing it because some of the people under the old don't want to let it go. And what do they say? Those that profit from the status quo are least likely to let it go. So therefore, he and all of his compatriots in there, they all suffered terribly because the old church kind of leaders of the old thing, you could say that, you know, they didn't really like the new thing that Jesus was talking about. And they ended up, all of them ended up martyred. They ended up murdered for their faith. They did try and get to John. They boiled him in oil, but he lived. I don't know what he looked like out of it, but he lived. And I think the reason he lived is because he was the one that was commissioned by Jesus while hanging on the cross to say, John, this is your mother. Look after her. Mother, this is now your son. So I think that's why he got to stay longer, because of the fact he needed to look after Jesus' mum. Now, he's writing about this. He's getting older in life, and he's starting to think, I better write some of this stuff down. And he's recalling all of these barbaric things that happened. It's probably written around the time when either Jerusalem was being ransacked or very close to it, or maybe even after it. They don't exactly know when. But he's witnessed the horrors that have taken place as Rome. He's writing as Rome has come down and taken over Israel and taken over Jerusalem and annexed it into Rome and destroyed the temple and thrown everything down. And the amount of loss of human life was catastrophic. And he's writing all of this down and he's penciling it down. But then as he's kind of like making this kind of statement, he's working this through, he writes this incredible thing after going through and witnessing everything that's going on. He writes an amazing statement, and he says this: God is love. When he was writing this, he didn't see much love around anywhere. It was terrible. It was terrible times. It was the end times of ancient Judaism. It was horrible. But yet he comes up with this: God is love. This was so foreign. It was so foreign to them to think about God in this term, God being love. The one who remains in love remains in God, and God remains in him. So the greatest of these things is love. Why? Because God is love. God is love. So we're hoping across this series that we'll encounter God and we'll learn how to walk in love, which is actually to walk in God. It's how to live a spirit-led life of love and generosity. What did Bill encounter when he came to our house? Love. Somebody that just loved him and just listened to him. And we remained good friends until he had to sell his home because he became too frail and had to live with his family. He experienced love. And that's because Anne and I have always realized anything that we have, from house to car to whatever, none of it belongs to us. It's all stewarded by God, and it's available for him, for his mission, his purpose, whenever. So we continually always try and live mission. And I know that many of you live like that as well. You're looking around the rhythms and routines of your life to see if there's someone that God might have you encourage or bless or something like that. It's this, where's it coming from? It's coming from love. Why? God within us, those that have started to receive Christ and started the journey. God within is propelling the love. It's amazing. I know some of you have showed kindness to someone just, you didn't really want to, but you felt like you had to. Maybe it was a neighbor, or maybe it was something was going on at work and everything's going sideways, but you just something's compelling you to say, I need to do something. I need to engage. I need to try and help. See, that is love. That is God working in and through you. Now, my family that I grew up in was by no part of the imagination perfect. We were not perfect. We had challenges. I mean, our family had a lot of brokenness in it, and there was a lot of pain, and there was a lot of hurt, and it was a struggle for us. But there was something that we did, which I think we still caught something even before we were fully immersed into a relationship with God, and that's that our house, it was like Grand Central Station. Seriously, I would come home, I would not know who this is. Who are you? Oh, I just coming in for a few days. Right, okay. It was like people was just open all the time. Every stray, anywhere, would find their place to our house. And because I worked in bands and I worked late at night and that, sometimes I'd come home and I'd walk down I'm just going down to bed. Who's in my bed? Who are you? And it's one of those Goldilocks moments all the time. It's like, where do I sleep? Well, just on the couch. Oh, thanks very much. There was something in the heart of my family, because of our brokenness, that really knew that people needed help. They needed love. And I know that's very much on Ruthie's heart, is to see Love This City move to a whole new area of how do you help people get to that place where you see everything that belongs to God and available for his plans and purposes. So that statement of John's, like God is love, it was huge. It was huge in the culture of the day because no one saw God in that capacity because of everything that was going on. It was just bad. But where did John get it from? Well, he got it from his mate Jesus. This is what Jesus said: a new command I give you. Now, you know what? These guys needed a new command like they needed a hole in the head. They got 613 commands. They don't really got 10 big ones and 613. We really don't need any more commands. But he's going, no, I can give you a new command. This is it. Love one another as I have loved you. So, okay, love one another as I have loved you. Now, we're on the other side of the cross, looking back at the cross. We know exactly how much Jesus loved them. We know exactly how much he gave up in order for them. And he's saying to them, guys, you got to love one another as I've loved you. Then I love this. You must love one another. It's not saying, this would be a good idea. If you feel like you want to love on someone, it's a good idea, you know. No. He says you must love one another. Well, why do we have to love each other the way that you love us? Why can't we love our own way? Why have we got to do it this way? And then he goes on, says this. Because by this, have we got that slide? No. By this it says, here we go, everyone will know that you are my disciples. If you love one another. So he's saying, until you love one another the way that I loved you, you're actually not a disciple. That's the thing that people see. They don't see our preaching. They don't see all our podcasts. That's not moving them to Christ. They see your love and they see my love. It's our love for one another. But it's got to be love the way that he says we have to do it, which is that sacrificial love. It's so important. Tim last week talked about putting on love. But when you fully understand that God is love, you not only put on love, but you're actually propelled from inside. Once you surrender your life to Christ, the love of God propels you to live differently. So let's just talk a little bit about love, this kind of love of God's. It's an unconditional love. That's the first thing. It's unconditional. I'm amazed at how patient Jesus was with his disciples. Really patient. It's like, he's getting towards the end of his life on this earth, and he's getting ready to go to the cross. And what are his disciples doing? They're watching him do all this kind of stuff. And then they're on the journey, and what are they doing? They're arguing. They're going, who's going to be greatest? I think I'm going to be greatest. You think, I'm better than you. Well, actually, I'm John. I'm the one that Jesus loved, remember? So I'm the best, And it's like they're having this argument about who's going to be the greatest. And it's like, wow, guys, he must have been so frustrated. How long have I got to stay with you? You don't get this. Have you not witnessed what I'm doing? So they all get together and they're hanging out together. And what they would do in the culture of the day is you would all come into a place and there'd usually be a servant that would wash the feet, get the dust off your feet so you could sit together and refresh you. So they've come into this place, and of course, because everybody's asking who's the greatest, nobody's picking up a towel to serve anybody and wash anyone's feet. So Jesus goes, I guess I'm going to have to show them what this is really all about. So then he goes, takes off his tunic as the rabbi, as the teacher, puts on the servant thing, gets a bowl of water and starts washing their feet. And then they go, oh, no, you can't do that. And he goes, listen, unless I wash you, you have no part in me. So, okay, then. And there's the stuff that's not written in here that I think is the gold in my imagination. It's like he must be saying to them, guys, are you getting this? You're getting this? You're fighting over who's going to be the greatest. That's the old model. That's this one. The greatest going further up. It's not like that. You're going to follow me and become the servant of all. But he is so generous with them and he's so conditionally loving them. I mean, even up to the very end. To the very end, they're going, will you be restoring the kingdom back to Israel so we become a superpower and get our land back? And he goes, that's none of your business. Just focus on the mission. But this love is so unconditional that God knows we're going to muck up. God knows we're not going to get it right. And he's there with us all the way through. And he's so unconditionally loving when we muck up to say, come on, get up, let's keep going. That's what Bill experienced. That's what caused him to kind of completely open up. And this is something you can't teach into every environment. I had one of our young fellas this week said, hey, listen, I'm trying to figure out what to do. A bunch of guys, we've just graduated and that kind of thing. We want to go to the casino and want to have a few drinks and that kind of stuff. And he goes, I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. Do I go? But if I go, am I going to be seen to be endorsing and promoting that? But then if I don't go, there won't be someone that's not drinking to be the designated driver to help them out. And one guy, he don't want to go because he's more holy and righteous than those and he wouldn't enter such a den of iniquity, even though Jesus probably would go there. Anyway, he's got all these things going on in his head and he's trying to work it out. I said, what would love require? What does love require of you in this circumstance? What's the sacrificial thing? What's the thing to do? And I won't tell you what he did. You'll have to ask him yourself if you can search him out. But he made the right call. He made the right call. He loved them unconditionally. It's amazing. So it's unconditional. This is God's love. It's also sacrificial. It's sacrificial. When you think about the cross, what Jesus did for you, what Jesus did for me, he leaves heaven, comes to earth, takes on flesh, grows up, shows us what God is really, really like in human flesh. Then he says, I'll pay the price for your sin, for my sin. I'll take the punishment that you deserve. I'll go to hell on your behalf and I'll deal with that. And then I'll rise, and then you can actually have all that I have within me, all of the holiness and the righteousness. I'll gift that to you so you can come back into a relationship with the Holy God. Wow, that's the level of sacrifice is amazing. True love has selflessness and sacrifice attached to it. If there's no willing to lay down your life for the other person and sacrifice for the other person, I'm sure you got love. You have to really think that through. Husbands, we get this, don't we? It's our job to lay down our lives for our wives to see that she reaches her full potential in Christ. That's our job. It's their job to cook. You sexist thing, you. No, that's our job. Our job is to lay down our lives so they reach their full potential. Guess I'm being heckled. It's their job. It's their job to lay down their life and see that we reach our full potential. Because you see, in Christ, there's no male and female. There's no Jew and Gentile. It's mutual submission. It's loving one another the way that Jesus has loved us. So in a marriage relationship, even in a work relationship, we should always have the same thing. How can I self-sacrifice and deny myself to see that you reach your full potential? It's completely different. That's why love is not just a feeling. There are times when you don't feel like loving your enemies. I didn't feel like going over to Bill. I don't like talking to people that just go, no, 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 no. What am I supposed to do with that? But sometimes love requires that you do that. Sacrificial life. Daily in our lives. And there's opportunities everywhere for acts of kindness. So I'm going to ask Anita to come up, and she's going to come up and we're just going to talk a little bit about Radical Christmas because we're launching that as well, and what are the opportunities that are around. And I just want you to know, Anita, that Ruth is watching.
I know.
So
I feel the pressure.
So should you get this wrong, well, that's okay.
Are we sitting?
Do you want to sit or do you want to stand?
Let's sit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ruth. I won't mess it up, I hope. So if you're new to our church, we wanted to just give a little recap of what Radical Christmas is. This is actually our 10th year of running Radical Christmas here.
10 years.
10 years. It was actually 10 last year. 10 years of Radical Christmas. And the reason we say about Ruth and reference her is that it really is the heart of Love This City, and Ruth heads up our charity called Love This City. So Radical Christmas is an opportunity to make someone's Christmas a little brighter and to give a gift to someone who you may never meet. So you might have received a booklet on your way in this morning. If you didn't and you'd like one, pop your hand up because Robin will come and give you one now. I'm just going to go through the opportunities to give this morning into our Radical Christmas campaign. So basically, Radical Christmas was birthed out of an idea to be for the Gold Coast, to be for our city, to be able to reach in and touch people who may never meet Jesus but have practical needs. So we partner with and have partnered with a whole bunch of organisations over the years, different organisations, to be able to give gifts. So this year is no different. We have a few different things that we highlight in our booklet. And in the booklet here, there's opportunity to be able to give to 5 different gifts this year. So the first one is quilting fabric. Some of you may know that we have a group here called Connected Threads, and they meet every Tuesday morning in the Watson room, and they laugh a lot and have a lot of fun.
They're kind of naughty.
They're not. They're beautiful ladies who come together and they
That's a little naughty, yeah.
And they sew quilts and make handmade quilts for patients that are in hospices and hospitals around the Gold Coast. And also they make some really fun lap quilts for students at our local special schools also. Those are in wheelchairs and things. So the fabric that you buy, or the money that you give towards fabric, goes towards these beautiful quilts. So that's the first gift, opportunity to give in that way.
Do you know what I donated to the ladies?
What did you donate?
After we changed to this beautiful shirt.
Oh, some of your shirts.
I donated my shirt and all my ties. All my ties, that you can do whatever you want with this. And they made them into these beautiful quilts.
Yeah,
it
was really nice. Yeah. And they get donated, and they're just gifts that are treasured by people in those families. The second gift is an opportunity. So we're partnering with the Department of Child Safety. So there's a Christmas gift. Last year we were actually able to raise enough to give 400 gift cards to families in need for children in foster care. So the power of this gift is just the opportunity for a child to choose. Often children that are in foster care have a lot of their choice taken away from them. And last year we interviewed the lady from the Department of Family Services, and she came in and chatted with us just about the power of giving a gift card. We can sometimes feel, oh, a gift card's not very personal, a gift might be better, but we're actually giving them more than just a gift here. We're giving them back the opportunity to choose a gift that would suit them. So that's a great gift you can donate towards. Now, you can give towards us buying the gift card, or if you're out shopping, I particularly love this with my own kids last Christmas when we went out, and I let them choose a gift card and we brought it in, and it's just a great way of modelling giving to our families, and they get to think about what would they love, a Smiggle gift card, or, you know, all the different types, and they got to choose it and bring it in, and we can pass those along. So that's the gift card opportunity. We've also got the opportunity to give a gift to children who may have a parent in prison on the Gold Coast here. So to do this, we partner with Angel Tree, and this is an organisation that actually reach out to the prisoners, and the prisoners say, my child would like, and they tell us what the child would like. Now, this one's really special, and you've got to be involved in delivering these gifts.
Yeah, I got to deliver some going back a few years ago, and both parents were in prison, and it was a grandma, and I just walked in there, and there was 2 gifts, and it said these are from mum and dad, and it was overwhelming for them that somehow mum and dad had got them a gift. And that's the sort of thing that you do, and you go like, we can't really see the end result of that because you've got limited time and that, but I just thought, wow, that's got to be doing something both in the heart of the parents that are in jail and the kids.
Yeah. So it's just, it's a great opportunity to be involved there with giving. And there's also other opportunities. We ask for shoppers, people who like to go shopping. So we actually get a list from the parents. Ruth's got quite a list, but if you are keen and would like to do that, it's another great opportunity to do with your kids also, to go with an actual shopping list and buy the gift. And then we need people to deliver those gifts as well. That can take a few weeks leading up to Christmas, just to find a time that the families will be home and be able to go and deliver those. So that's $35 for a Christmas gift for a child whose parent is in jail. The next gift is for emergency relief. Now, we know the housing crisis on the Gold Coast and really Australia-wide at the moment. This is an opportunity to give towards Love This City. We get requests every week over the phone and on email just to help with things like emergency accommodation, financial relief for fuel and groceries for people in need. So that's any amount that you want to nominate that you can give towards Love This City. And
Just before we do, keep that one in mind too in the neighbourhood where you live, because if there's people that have homes where their kids have grown up and they've got space, sometimes they just need a little prompt to say, have you ever thought about making your home available to someone that's in a time of need? And then particularly if they've got opportunity to then continue the relationship. So these are the small things that we don't often think about. But they don't want to come to church yet, but they might have a heart to help someone that's doing it tough in the city. So if you hear of people around say, hey, listen, you got a bunch of rooms that you're doing nothing with, would you be open to that? And then connect them with Love the City, and Ruthie would be all over that.
That's a whole other topic, isn't it? That emergency accommodation, but that has been a dream of ours with Love This City to develop that up as well. The final gift I wanted to highlight this morning is the Radical Christmas hampers. We've done these differently over the years, but this year what we are doing is asking you to sponsor a hamper for $70. Now, this is not just a basic food hamper that you would receive. So a basic food hamper often looks, and during Christmas in July this year, we did the food hamper donations, and they are excellent and really help families in need. But these are Christmas hampers with a little bit of extra special love and just those treat things that you would buy at Christmas time that maybe you wouldn't get in an ordinary food hamper. So, yeah, we are asking for donations towards those hampers, but also for nominations of people in your world who would be blessed by a hamper. So if you can let us know if there's someone on your rhythm and routine and path that would be blessed by a hamper. It's obviously very impacting when you're able to give that gift on behalf of Love This City and our church and just bless them in their time of need. So the hamper one is a lot of fun because we ask you to donate. We go and we have a team of awesome volunteers who go and do the shopping for those. And then we have a hamper packing party on a Sunday before Christmas where it's all lined up here. We pack the hampers, wrap them and get them ready for distribution the week before Christmas.
And we play carols.
And there's carols. There's always carols, Kev.
There's carols. There's carols.
All the time. Yeah. So it's our opportunity to give, serve and love and really make a difference in our community and show that we are for the Gold Coast, and that even though people may not yet have a relationship with God or know who Jesus is, that we can have an impact in them. And just one of our slogans is love thy neighbour. And yeah, we just seek to do that through Radical Christmas. So that's a highlight of the different gifts that are available. We also have ornaments, which is possibly what would have caught your eye as you came in this morning. But we always want to highlight the gifts as the main opportunity to give. The storefront in the foyer there, where we're selling handmade ornaments, are also 100% of the sale of those goes back towards Radical Christmas. And they are an opportunity to buy something maybe for a teacher or someone in your world that you can purchase and on give. You can also buy a gift in, has anyone ever received a card that has in it, I purchased on your behalf this gift? You can also do that with Radical Christmas. We have special cards that you can come and say, I purchased a hamper on your behalf, and we give you a card to put inside your Christmas gift that you on give. So maybe you have a Secret Santa at work or something like that, and you want to give a meaningful gift, you can do that.
I don't recall ever getting a card like that. I do recall getting a bank statement with seeing what you've purchased on my behalf.
I purchased on your behalf, yeah.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
So the opportunity to buy the beautiful handmade baubles. Some of our volunteers are
so creative.
They're so creative. There's actually a variety because we decided this year to put out all of the ones from previous years as well. So there's limited numbers of those. But the new ones this year are ones that Keely has actually hand lettered personally, and they got sent off to be printed on the wooden baubles. So yeah.
Cool. So plenty of opportunities to give and to connect and to use it to connect with the community. While I got you up here, let's put you on the spot. The other aspect of God's love is to love continuously. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
Oh, I think you've already said it today, but what does love require is a question that always stands out to me when I'm faced with a situation in life. So for me, to love continuously is even when I'm at my end and I don't feel like I have much more to give, I can dig deep and into the love that God gives me to be able to pour that out onto others.
You are amazing at this, even with your family. I know you didn't want me to even mention it.
I didn't. He always does, doesn't he? He always goes there.
But the reality is we probably most of us have families that are not perfect. Yours is fairly a difficult situation. You know, like most of you would know that Anita came to live with us when she was 16. What are you, 18 now? 20?
Yeah.
You know, no.
44. 44.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But I remember when you came to live with us, and I remember I'm in so much trouble for this. But I remember that you didn't really want to come live with us because you desperately wanted Mum and Dad to sort some things out, and they couldn't do it for whatever reason. And I remember you spending quite a few months crying at night because you were so hurt that Mum and Dad wouldn't make the change or couldn't make the change. But you've never stopped still being available to them. Mm. You want to share anything about that journey?
I think that for me, the ability to love in the midst of difficult circumstances, I definitely completely rely on the love of God and the love that God gives me to be able to pass that on. And also just being honest about the grief and sadness that comes with brokenness in families and being able to, and I've talked to so many of you who have shared with me that, oh, it's so encouraging to know that everyone's family is not perfect and that you can still make a difference or choose to love despite sort of the circumstances maybe that you're in. Yeah, so for me, I 100% rely on the love of God to be able to then love. Yeah. And also I believe with all that I am that people will experience God's love through me in terms of me being able to just say, to give out that love. And we are called to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and I have opportunity to do that in those situations where maybe I'm hurting and I feel like, I don't really feel like I want to love, or I don't really want to put my heart out there, but I can choose to put that aside to say, well, they'll experience God through me because they don't know him any other way. So how can I not love? So that's sort of, how I go about that. Loving continuously. And I wondered, this week we had a She Cafe on Wednesday night, and the speaker we had was Narelle, and she's an Indigenous artist, and she shared her testimony of just a really hard life as an Indigenous young female. She shared her lifetime experience. It was really confronting and sad, but then she was able to share how God's love came into her circumstances and really changed her, and how she can choose love over all that happened to her. And I was impacted to think about that in terms of a testimony, that through Radical Christmas, because I was living in Radical Christmas world this week with all the preparations and everything, just the ability to give love to someone who may not yet know who God is, they then have this testimony that they're sharing. They don't even know who God is, but because they've experienced God's love through us in the form of a gift or a bauble or a hamper or something that we've given, they then start to share the testimony of God's love, a God they may not even yet know. Yeah. So, that was just highlighted to me that through Radical Christmas, we have opportunity to give love, and then the people who receive the gift will share with others in their world the gift they've received, and that's a testimony of God's love.
So if what John is saying is correctly, what are you giving to them when you give something?
Love, the spirit of God's love.
You're giving God.
Yeah.
You're giving the gift of God into that. You're giving the gift of God into that circumstance and situation. And you can do that in anything any single thing. Just stopping and listening to someone is amazing. Like you can, you could be on the door and go, there's your newsletter. Or you go, hey, great to see you, man. We've got a great day. Here's your newsletter. You see the difference? It's like you see them all the time. It's like they're doing a job. No, but when you give, it doesn't matter what the gift is, when you give it and it comes out of love, because God is love, you are actually imparting something of God in you to them, and it's amazing. And so the gifts are important, but it's really what's behind the gifts that's really making all the difference.
So good.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So the big question is for us, if love is the unmistakable denier of what it means to be a disciple of Jesus, like, what do we do there? I mean, like, we have to love unconditionally. We have to love sacrificially in that, but you got to do it in all the rhythms and the routines of your life. Like, I don't know how I learned to do this, and Anita still shakes her head at me sometimes. Like, I don't know, I can just walk into any circumstance and I don't know, I just know what to say. And sometimes it's stupid, it comes out, but then it just unlocks something. But that's a part of me I want them to experience the God that I know and love. But I don't want to preach at them. But I want them to sense him. And it comes through just simple gifts. And it's something, looking at the rhythms and the routines of your life. I know Jeff and Robin, they're amazing at this. They would go to the same checkout person every time they shop. Go to that same checkout lady. Just invest in that relationship. Invest in that relationship. Then after a while, then it's like, hey, why don't we have a cup of coffee after work? And then they go and have a cup of coffee after work. And they're building this relationship. And then, she was an older lady, then her husband passes away. And then, who turns up? The church turns up with a hamper and something else and a bucket load of love. And it makes all the difference. And we all have these rhythms and routines of our lives. They're all there. We do it all the time. And we sometimes go, I'm too busy. I've got no time to share my faith with Christ. You do, because it's not a separate thing. Your faith in Christ, if God is in you, is happening all the time. It should come into every meeting. You shouldn't go into a business meeting without having one ear listening to the Holy Spirit. When you're picking the kids up from school, who do you see? You're continually looking at whom you can connect with. And it's so easy. You just go up to someone and say, hey, Len, man, I see you all the time at Top Drop Off. Man, let's get together and have a coffee. I'd love to hear your story. How'd you get to be where you are today? People love talking about their favourite topic, which is them. You just said that you'll sit and let me tell you my story. They love it. And then you just listen and see, you discover that your story actually intertwines in that story somewhere. I'll guarantee it. And then you're looking for the opportunity to share his story, which is what we're talking about. God is love. Could you imagine if you get everyone in Australia or the world to live by this particular statement again. Let's go back to the first one. The new command that Jesus said, let's have a look at it. Up there. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. If we could get every politician in the world just to agree to that, you don't have to go to church. We don't want you at church, but just agree to that. Just agree to that. Just to love one another as Jesus, he gave everything. He sacrificed everything. Could you just do that? Imagine if every family began to love each other. There'd be no counselors needed. You wouldn't need a counselor, because in marriages it would all be about surrendering and loving each other the way that Christ has loved us. It would transform societies, marriages, workplaces, government. This particular statement of Jesus, if you could just get the Middle East to embrace that, you don't have to give up your Muslim lifestyle. Would you just adopt that teaching? I know you think Jesus is just a nice prophet, but would you do what he said? Love one another the way that he's loved us. That would remove everything, all your tensions. But that's not an easy thing to do sometimes. You've got to make that choice.